Student loan debt remains a pressing issue nationwide, and with consistent changes and updates, it is essential to stay ahead of the curve. Joining us with the latest on college student loans is Ray Jones, Vice President of Loan Programs at South Carolina Student Loan. I want to thank you so much for coming back and chatting with us.
It's always a pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
And the last time you were here, you know, the loan forgiveness was a hot topic and still is, but you were talking about how this kind of brought to light that these students and families don't understand all of the opportunities that they have available before they were to even borrow.
Absolutely.
Can you speak to some of those?
Sure. I think, you know, student loans are a strange thing when it comes to borrowing. Most people test drive a car, for example, before they purchase it. But with student loans, I think a lot of that is just based on the need, making sure that the student's getting into college and getting enrolled. And a lot of times they don't understand what they're signing up for before they take out a student loan. So we encourage students to understand that information, understand not only what they're going to be receiving, fees that are associated with the loans, interest rates that are associated with the loans, how the loans are going to be dispersed to the school. Those types of things are important before they borrow, but also what can they expect when they leave. After they graduate, they get a 6-month grace period, and as they enter repayment, they have some things that they may qualify for. If they're having trouble, there's certainly some things that their servicer can help them with in that, and we want them to know that as early as possible so that when they do come up against something that they have some questions or concerns over, they know who to speak to and they know what options are available to them.
So for a student who is, you know, about to enter college, what would you recommend their first step be?
Absolutely. The very first step in financial aid, student loans included, would be to complete the free application for federal student aid. The FAFSA is a very important tool for those seeking enrollment in higher education. I will say, you know, there's been some trouble this year. The federal government implemented a FAFSA simplification process. That form is supposed to be available in October, and it got delayed a bit. It got delayed until the end of December this past year. So there was quite a delay in there, and it created some issues with families applying. I think as of about 2 weeks ago, the state of South Carolina was down about 14% in new entering freshman borrowers completing the FAFSA, and that's very concerning because lots of those students simply can't afford that cost of education if they don't do that. So if the listeners don't get anything else from me today, I would say it's not too late to complete the FAFSA. The FAFSA kickstarts the entire process, including the federal loans, but those that might be eligible for a Pell Grant, for example, need to complete the FAFSA. Those that are attending our South Carolina private colleges may also be eligible for the South Carolina Tuition Grant. That grant also requires FAFSA completion. So definitely do the FAFSA. If you've had trouble doing it in the spring and you tried to attempt it and had a little trouble, things are much better than they were. I strongly encourage the family to go in there and do that now.
Okay, so perfect. So that is strongly encourage the free application for federal student aid.
Absolutely.
And now another hot button topic is interest rates.
Yes.
So what are we looking at for students in 2024, 2025?
They're a little high, to be quite honest with you. I think, you know, the federal loan interest rates currently have a student rate at a little above 6.5%, which is higher than we've seen in a while. And then the federal parent loan has an interest rate a little above 9%. So they're a little high this year. One of the things that I would say about that is this, you know, the federal student loan that's in the student's name, that 6.5% rate is still a good loan. Do the FAFSA. If you're going to need a loan, take that loan first. When you compare that interest rate along with the repayment options that loan offers, I think those that need to borrow will still find value in that loan. If you have to seek additional things elsewhere, know the lender that you're going to borrow with. Check our loans out on South Carolina Student Loan. We can tell you what your rate would be with us first. So rates are a bit high. I strongly encourage people to shop around a bit, understand what those are before they take the loan out.
And now, can you tell me a little bit about South Carolina Student Loan, a new workforce initiative?
Yes, so last year, South Carolina Student Loan saw a need in the state of South Carolina to not only allow some students to get their education, but to try to keep those educated students in the state of South Carolina in our workforce. So we created our BOLD Career Pathway Loan Program. That stands for Better Outcomes, Less Debt. And what we're hoping is that students that would be interested, right now we've started in the healthcare industry, so think of it as a nursing degree. We will partner with our hospital systems in the state of South Carolina. They can contract with students while they're enrolled. And that money that we lend in the BOLD program, those employers are actually paying that debt off. So it's another way that we think we can help fund their education on the front end, but it's a valuable way that students can reduce their debt by having their talent used in a way that gets those loans paid off by the employer. So we're really excited about it. So any employers that might be interested, we'd encourage them to contact us as well.
Wonderful. Well, for more information about the Workforce Initiative, but also South Carolina Student Loan in general, southcarolinastudentloan.org is where you can go. Ray, I want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate your time.
We're back after this.